Good morning as folks are joining us. It's good to see everybody this Monday morning. Special shout out to Brian Dixon and Kate Warren Barnes, who I will see very soon. We are in Chicago for a grantee meeting for the Stone Foundation. So those of you who know, Brian Dixon is a longtime caller and is our program officer at Stone. And so they have a grantee meeting for their grantees in early childhood, K to 12, and youth. So that is happening today. So it is 8:30 in Chicago. So now I'm going to see Marissa, which is great. So welcome as folks are coming into this special edition of the Sharing the Mic on a Monday. We have Dr. Robin Reisberg who will be joining us on Wednesday. And because the tonight is a public comment for the C3 formula. And last week's sharing the mic, we didn't see a lot of people enthusiastic about sharing their experience and sharing public comment. We just wanted to kind of take today to I'm gonna role play and deliver what I would say if we were giving public comment tonight. I think Marissa's gonna try just based on our schedule today. She's definitely gonna log on, and then we are sending written public comment as well, which is just as important as showing up and speaking. All of it goes into the permanent record of, for the public record of the hearing, the public hearing. And so we'll also put some resources in the chat. Marissa, kind of went through all of the different, she has a slide deck kind of highlighting what EEC said about what this hearing is all about. We also have some resources in advocacy headquarters that should be helpful. I will post my whatever I say today so you can see even just how we format it on paper when we submit public comment. And then we'll add the kind of the EEC homepage for all the information that is available about tonight. It is on Zoom. And we've gotten a question, should I RSVP if I don't want to speak? I would say yes, just so you're on, you're there. And then if they call your name, you can just say, I'm not planning on speaking right now. Sometimes people change their mind immediately, like, no, maybe I will talk. I would not suggest that. But if you can always send in written comment, and the comment period ends on Friday. So tonight will be the Zoom that you will see, and then you have all week to write because you may hear something if you log in today to that you might want to comment on, or you might want to amplify. So any questions as we get started? Or I guess by like an emoji show of hands or in the chat, who is planning on going tonight? First, who's planning on going tonight to watch the public comment? So either raise your hand, Kim Dion, yes. All right, we have some hand raises. Great. Got some thumbs up. Great. Wow, we have an exploding thumbs up. I haven't seen that emoji. Great. That's exciting. And then if we are available today if you have a question or you want us to review what you wrote, you can send it to us. But let me just put some of the links in chat now as we get started. So, okay. So Marissa kind of organized this. So I'm going to first put the link to the slides that Marissa showed on August 27th as we were kind of talking about that. So that's there. Then, and Mary, I'll do a better intro when I'm about to do my thing so we can use the recording because I'm a little bit all over the place right now. Okay, so then this is, um, so you'll see the resource for public comment period that we've customized for today. And then I'm going to put the EEC page that has all the information there. And Donna Danette, since I see you, good morning. Can you share with folks, because you testified for the legislature at a hearing that was pretty similar. It wasn't about a bill, or it was about it was about general information about early childhood. So can you share what that was like? You had 3 minutes to get your point across, but can you just share with folks kind of what that experience was like, how you felt afterwards, what advice you would have
Or
for people?
to clarify, is this 2 or 3 minutes?
I think it's three. Let me check
Okay.
that though. The Joint Committee on Education now has 2 minutes, so we because it's kind of up to the chair to set that. But I think EEC
Right.
is 3 minutes.
It's a very short period of time. Um, and I think that I think I was more nervous because of the environment, as well as it being the first time that I did it. Um, I found that, oh, thank you, Kate. I found that it was helpful to me to make eye contact with the legislators who were right in front of me and just talk directly to them as if there's nobody else in the room. So it's just me talking directly to them. I found that was really helpful to me. Um, and to speak more slowly than I'm used to make sure that I practice what I wanted to say with clear pauses where I wanted them for impact. Um, and then it just felt really amazing afterwards to feel like I had um, shared my lived experience in a way that had the potential to really impact some important, powerful people in important, powerful ways for our sector.
And then how did you feel after? Was there any regret, or were you psyched?
I was flying so high. There was no regret. And people were amazing because it was clear that those of us who were speaking, or many of us who were speaking, were nervous. And I got lots of support beforehand, and then I just got lots of support afterwards. And it was really an amazing, powerful experience that I'm considering doing again.
All right. All right. And so I think that one thing that Donna said that's really important is, this is legislatively required now that the C3 formula is in statute, right? This is part of why policy matters, because the legislature created this kind of this requirement so that EEC could get public feedback about the C3. And we know we have seen multiple times how the department has you know, asked for feedback in less formal ways. So I think, this has been a kind of a value that the department has certainly had. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you, just because I think sometimes it's hard to even know like where to start. So I'm just going to show you first how we organize our public comment. And so this is it. And then I'm gonna go take this down, and I'm gonna have somebody time me, because I have not timed myself, and I think this is 3 minutes, over 3 minutes. So we're gonna practice that now. But so we have our organization logo, the Massachusetts Board of Early Education and Care. Remember, this is a board meeting, a special meeting that's a virtual hearing on the proposed amendments. So you put what you're talking about, the date, and then my name. And then you can see, and I'll read this, but it's 2 pages, but it's in 12 font. And so this is all that it is. It's a two-pager. The other thing to remember is sometimes when you are writing to be reading it out loud, it's a little bit different than if you were writing it just to write it. So that's another thing when you're practicing to see, like, is there an awkward transition? How do you make it more conversational? Which can be really hard if you don't read it out loud. Because we don't write usually to be read out loud, we write to write. So that's that. And we'll add this to the 9:30 call follow-up folder. 100% read out loud. Right. All right. So and what Donna said on virtual, it can be hard to feel like you're making eye contact, and it will be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be a webinar format. Well, it'll just be like, but you should be prepared just to see your face on the screen alone, which is it can be very shocking when you are kind of logging on that now all of a sudden you're talking to yourself. I don't know how they're going to do it. but just be ready for anything. And you can, I find it easiest when I'm doing something on Zoom to have it up on my computer and not print it out because then you're looking down. But if you have it up and and most people read their public comments, so there's no shame in that. Um, Oh, the timer was hard. Right. So that's why it can be very startling when you're like 3 minutes into your introduction and the timer goes off, which is why you do have to practice. So, all right. Can I have a volunteer to do the timer? Nera Garcia, we got lots of timers. Oh, the other thing I'll say is one time I was waiting virtually because the other thing is you're probably going to be waiting in line virtually to testify. So you have to be paying attention. So I was multitasking because I was like, they're never going to call my name. I heard my name. I couldn't figure out how to end the meeting. I was also on Zoom. I threw my iPad across the room and then I opened up my talking points, but I couldn't see anybody because my computer, it was Zoom, and I am talking and I am talking away. And so I did not see any of the visual clues. And it was Senator Lewis that had to cut me off finally. And he was like, Amy, I'm so sorry. So, like, I've done this so many times and still I didn't stick to the 3 minutes. I didn't see the visual clues. Later I kind of connected with Senator Lewis and he's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I should have stopped talking. So, whatever happens, happens. We all are learning and growing. But I think it can be startling when the timer goes off. And the best thing to do is just finish your sentence and say, I would thank you so much for this time. I'll send my full written comment to you. They are so used to that. They know that it's a short time. All right, enough stalling. Let me open up my thing. Well, I just was thinking that because as I was opening up, I couldn't see you. That's the other thing. Prepare. So when you have it open, make sure you have a little bit of a window where you can see yourself on the screen. Okay, so let's me open it. And the other thing is practice reading it online because you have to figure out like a teleprompter how quickly you're moving your document down. All right, Neri, are you ready? All right, three, two, one. Good evening to the members of the board, Secretary Tutwiler, and Commissioner Kershaw. My name is Amy O'Leary, and I'm the Executive Director at Strategies for Children. Thank you for this opportunity to share our thoughts and feedback as you consider proposed amendments to the Commonwealth Cares for Children formula. 5.5 years ago, we had our first 9:30 call. 20 people logged in to a new Zoom account so we could figure out what was going on and how we could work together in a minute-by-minute changing landscape in a global health pandemic. As everything shut down, this community showed up every morning. Together, we reflected on the immediate challenges we faced from navigating unemployment, food insecurity, setting up emergency childcare, COVID testing for children and families, creating parent choice, and thinking about how they were going to get their children back into early education, and to the creation and continued funding for operational grants that were going to stabilize our system. In this ever-changing contest, it was essential that people who were closest to the children, families, and the work had a direct line of communication, both to each other and decision makers across the state. It was during these initial months that we started to see an increase in the need and opportunity for cross-sector collaboration because children do not live in the artificial funding streams that we've created for them. It was this context that the C3 grants were created, with incredible leadership at the state level, originally with federal funds, with the intention to stabilize childcare in Massachusetts, to make it more possible that programs could stay open, make payroll, and continue to serve children and families. In March 2024, I shared public comment at the EEC board meeting and said, we are looking forward to learning more about how EEC plans to transition the C3 grant from a COVID era stabilizing support to a long-term operational support. As you consider program adjustments, I would encourage you to create opportunities for educators, directors, family child care providers, and advocates to participate in the planning process and provide feedback over the next few months. We are happy to partner with you in this work. And here we are today. We are grateful to the department's commitment to data-informed and lived experience of the providers' decision-making, and we want to make sure to support that as much as possible. It's clear that we need administrative predictability moving forward, both so the department and programs are able to plan and budget effectively. We have seen the minor adjustments to some of the original elements of the formula are working, including the stable funding based on licensed capacity and not attendance or daily enrollment, and ensuring that the equity adjustment must recognize additional factors beyond enrollment of children receiving CCFA. There are two program adjustments that are new requirements in the policy that was passed by the legislature, and we are supportive of the principles behind them. We know that implementation will matter and that we will continue to learn about the impact of the attestation, about willingness to accept CCFA, and the requirement that programs dedicate 50% of grant funds to the workforce. We also see some considerations for future fund adjustments and beyond considering adjustments to the formula based on the salary scale and that providers have the funds needed to meet the salary benchmarks, more intentional distinction between CCFA and C3 funding streams and the role that they both play in the cost modeling, and incorporating continuous quality improvement to the formula. We also know with the current funding level at 45 million, excuse me, 475 million, we don't support any changes to the CEO staff ratio or the 1% cap on programs offering more sites right now. Thinking about 4 years ago also reminds us how our state responded. The policies that were developed, the flexibility we gave to programs and families, and the funding that was required to stabilize, heal, and transform our system. C3 funding was unimaginable in my times as an early educator. To think that there would be support that was not connected to a rate or a child, and that there was support to cover costs where there are often no other sources of money to pay for would be considered a dream. We proved that all wrong. We are a model for the country, and we will continue to be as we consider incredible opportunities to deliver on the promise of supporting a high quality system in Massachusetts. Your system improvements are making a positive impact, and there is still lots more work to be done. Thank you. All right, Nir, how long was that?
We should invest in a little timer to put on the Zoom screen.
I know, I Googled that as we were starting.
But it's 4 minutes, 31 seconds, 7.
Right. So that's a minute and a half too long. Now, is Titus on? I don't know if Titus is here. If Titus were here, he would say cut a lot in the beginning, right? Which I could do. The one thing is that we also see our role as someone that can help set the broader content. You don't have to be clapping.
Don't cut anything. It was great.
No, but Titus, when we do this as a team, it's better. You can't, it's hard to edit yourself sometimes, right? Sorry, Titus, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. But Titus would say, okay, I heard that. Where you should concentrate. So it is really important to practice because remember, that's only 2 pages at 12 font. So 3 minutes is probably barely a page and a half. The other thing is you want to make sure you can read it, so don't make it 10 font just to make it shorter because you're only fooling yourself. So I think, we would see ourselves, I could also skip a lot of that COVID stuff because they also know all that, right? But sometimes you want to add that because it makes a statement about like, remember how we got here. So now what I would do is I would go back and I would look, and again, I can submit that whole 4 minutes and 31 seconds. But when I speak, I'd have to cut out, and I would probably cut out parts of the beginning and get right to the point. And that's another like, so I kind of did a classic. I spent way too much time in the introduction and didn't get to the point because that's really what they want to hear. Um, okay. Any thoughts, or Titus or Neri, do you have any thoughts as I was doing it? And then let's open up the floor.
I can't remember, Amy, but did you introduce yourself at the beginning?
I did. I said my name is Amy O'Leary.
Okay.
That was but so like that's an important thing. Make sure sometimes people just skip right into it.
Hmm.
TD, anything else? Oh, Titus, say what you talk about in the chat.
Well, um, if you are talking to people who have been listening to testimonies all day, it's especially
Right.
important. Like, be very clear in the first sentence or two. Here's what I'm here to ask you for. I'm here to ask for this. And then you can kind of go back and flesh in some of the background and context, and that's all.
That's great. What I don't have is direct experience using C3 funds. Right. So mine was very focused on big picture that, there have been other testimonies where I have said, this is what we've heard on the 9:30 call. Right. So I can say, I can say that. So what the huge advantage that people who have that are running the running programs is that you are the lived experience expert. You're doing it. And the department doesn't have experience running these programs, right? They have responsibility for making the policy, but that's why like most of your stories and testimony should be about what it's like. What are you using the funding for? What are the challenges? Like I wish I had a little bit more funding, or I wish I had a little bit more flexibility. We're hearing a lot about the tension of the wait list and funding for access in C3. I would not recommend saying that we want to move C3 dollars to access. That's scarcity mentality, and that should not be on the table. And that's why I think we said that we were interested in understanding how these two funding streams can work together and how we obviously will need additional funding in both of them. But don't start pitting one against the other. Donna said, who should we be greeting? Members of the board, secretary. So I usually don't spend a lot of time in that. You saw I did that pretty quickly because sometimes, so I think the secretary is a member of the board and the commissioner, so I like to kind of call out the secretary and the commissioner just to know that I see them. But don't spend, like, don't name all the members of the board. Don't thank your like grandparents who gave birth, like just get right to the point. Thanks for that question. Are they allowed to ask you follow-up questions after you testify? That's a great question, Deborah. And Deborah, congratulations on all the apprentice work that happened last week. I think in a legislative hearing, they typically do sometimes, right? Like that's where I've seen more of it. I think Paul Belcito as chair will probably be running the hearing. I think if they have a clarifying question, they may ask you. But again, if they ask you and it freaks you out, just say, you know what, I'm going to get the information. I'll get it back. I'll get back to you. Like, don't feel that you have to. They may want to clarify something because sometimes we talk inside baseball. They just maybe want to understand.
But I agree, Amy, it's not something that they're going to ask everybody a follow-up question or enter into a conversation with you.
Right.
It's really just if they have to clarify something.
And that's a good point because it can also feel like you've just finished this, like you want to high five everybody, and they're like, thank you. And then they take you off the screen, and you're like, where's my ticker take parade for doing this? So it can be a little like startling to be like, that's it. Because as Donna said, 3 minutes goes so fast. But Titus put out a good point. They are going to have to listen to everybody who signs up. And, I've often said to legislators who are sitting there for 4 and 5 hours listening to public testimony, like, that's a lot. That's a lot to have to listen and be paying attention to. Have some grace for them as well as they are listening. The other thing that's harder to do, but that you might want to try is even if you have your written testimony and the three people that went before you said exactly what you want to say, you can say, I totally support what we just heard, this, and this, and maybe not go into as much detail. That's why, like, you don't, as Titus said, and maybe I would reorder it. Like, let's talk to you about this, and then maybe give a little bit more context as you go on. If you are a program, you should talk about we serve this many children and families. We do take, we have financial assistance. You want to give a little context about your program so they can imagine how the C3 funds are fitting into your day to day. Say where your program is located. We're statewide, so I didn't say we're based in Boston. And as Brian Gold said, it's always okay to say, let me get back to you on that. But then the most important thing is that you get back to them on that. And if you need help, Eugenia is on the 9:30 call. You can always send something to Eugenia as a follow-up. You don't have to find the board's emails, right? Eugenia can help get that to them. Any other questions or observations? Heartfelt toast to me from lived experience, help move policy. Ooh, that's right, Cherish. I think what we'll do today is we will send out a follow-up email Because I want you to hear me say we really want people to take advantage of this opportunity. It's so easy to think like somebody else will do it. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. I'm so busy. And all those, the last one is true. You are so busy. And it's important to take time I mean, these are, we talk all the time about opportunities to practice. This is an excellent low stakes way of practicing and sharing, kind of your expertise with the board. Be like Donna, says Brian. I think that's right. And you know what? You're gonna be nervous. So kind of embrace the nervousness and don't try to fight it. Take a deep breath. Oh, as Mark Riley told me this weekend, yep, they want to hear our stories. That's right. I should say on Saturday, some 9:30 callers were in Worcester where they announced the family child care facilities grants. So they had the mayor of Worcester, the lieutenant governor, Commissioner Kershaw, a panel of family child care providers, and Diana Figueroa from Mass Development, who is actually coming to the 9:30 call next Monday to talk more about the family child care grants. But it was a great, great event. Lots of people there. All right, so we will post all this information. Now, where's the emojis of people who are now maybe considering doing this, that maybe weren't considering it this morning, when like 30 minutes ago when you logged on? Any new takers for the opportunity? Any
I'm
emojis?
doing it.
Donna's doing it. All right. The other thing that we also wanted to point out was we are working with our email platform provider. Neri added a bit of context to our 9:30 call email this week about making sure that folks, I was unsubscribed from our list. So you can imagine that we were looking very closely about how this happened. All right, Donna's going to send the comments. Great. All right, you can do it. It would be great for 9:30 callers to sign up just so people see friendly faces and friendly names and the participants. But we are glad that folks joined us today. We will send a follow-up email so we have all the information in one place for you. Please let us know how we can help you today. And we look forward to hearing tomorrow about people's experiences. All right, so have a great day and thanks so much for joining us.